have you all been having a good day today? When I say fanboy, you say Expo. Fanboy! Fanboy! So that's close. That's close. You got the energy going just a little bit. When I say fanboy, you say Expo. Fanboy! Fanboy! Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce at this time Gray Griffin and Frank Welker!
I don't want you near me.
I know. Very careful. Nowadays.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too, Frank.
I think first I can say on behalf of both Gray and myself, thank you very, very much for coming out and being so supportive and standing in lines, and we really, really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't believe I'm on a panel with Frank Welker. Yes, please take lots of pictures because this may never happen again.
That's great.
Yes. So
Tara Strong wanted to be on this panel, but no, I got it.
Gray is very influential. So in case some of you don't know, Gray and I work together an awful lot, but one of our shows that we work together very, 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 very a lot is Scooby-Doo. And Daphne, the lovely Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
I've been Daphne for 22 years. I can't believe that. I always feel like I was the new Daphne, and now I've been doing it.
Yeah,
doing it a while. Yeah.
You are the Daphne.
Yes, and then Freddie, my
Freddie,
sweetheart, my
yes.
little Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, people know who you are. I don't have to introduce you.
Oh, no. I might like
Unless you
that.
want me to.
Yeah, please.
Oh, you may know him.
And I had, we were talking to, it was Mark Dodson this morning, and just very briefly, and he was mentioning that you all work together, and I think he wanted to be on this panel too.
Oh, that's that with the extra microphone. I thought it was going to be you up here.
That's right. No, this is for when we do questions, and whenever you're ready for questions, we can take a few questions. We have some questions for Gray and Mr. Welker here. Yes.
Okay, first of all, I got up here for Peter Cullen last year. Very emotional experience for me. He mentioned that he actually had to audition for the voice of Optimus Prime in the 2000 movie. Did you have to do the same, or were you not interested, or did they turn you down?
Actually, I will tell you how much time do we have? This is going to be the Frank Welker version. Could
I've
take
got
a
a
while.
super long RC story of how I got the voice of RC, so you tell your long story
Any
first.
question you ask Gray and I could take a long time. My brother said, when somebody asks you the time, don't tell them how you made the watch. They don't care. They want to know what time it is. But actually, the true story on that is, I heard that they were going to be doing Transformers. I was very excited. And we finally got the call, and I was not available to go in and see. They wanted to meet me, as they did with Peter before. I think this was with Michael Bay and the producers at the time. And I don't know if the writers were there or not. But, so I missed that opportunity to go in. And then the next time I was back in town, and they wanted to get together again, and I was available, and then he was shooting what do you call it? Well, anyway, he was doing the live action in Mexico at the time, so I missed that opportunity. I think we sent the old G1 voice on a tape, and Michael Bay was never really too keen on that interpretation, and so he definitely wanted to work together or work on that interpretation and see if there was something better that he liked that might be more appropriate to the feature. Long story, I'm going to try and get it down a little bit. So we never really physically got together, and that's what we needed to do to actually work on the voice of Megatron. So I lost out on Megatron. But in the second feature, I came back as several other characters, got to meet Michael Bay, did Soundwave, which of course was one of my characters. Soundwave. But little quick little insight. Actually, it's the same voice as the Cave of Wonders, which you might have heard recently. He who enters the Cave of Wonders, beware.
I like one of them.
Well, thank you. Well, then, fortunately, as time went on, the writers turned Megatron back into Galvatron. And so Michael brought me in to do Megatron as Galvatron. And this was a time when we did get to work together. And he said, well, what do you think, Frank? And which was fantastic for me that he would ask me, you know, to actually create a new voice, but it had to kind of be similar to Hugo, similar to my owl, and so on and so forth. So then when the feature after that, the picture after that with Galvatron, Megatron was back, and it was me, but it was a little different than the G1 who was here. I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons, and it began to morph or transform. And now it was here. I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. My story's over.
This question is for Miss Griffin. What is your favorite line or scene as Azula from Avatar and Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I love being Vicky because I get to tell that twerp to go make me a milkshake.
But my favorite scene as Azula is when she goes to that party and is trying to flirt with that guy, and she's just terrible at flirting. And she's like, "That's a sharp outfit, Chan. Sharp enough to puncture the hull of an Empire-class Fire Nation battleship, leaving thousands to drown at sea because it's so sharp." Anyway, it's just a really awkward flirter. But I want to tell my RC story because it's really interesting and it's really fast. I played RC in the first movie, the Revenge of the Fallen. Yeah. Okay, and then I played RC in Bumblebee too, but that was easy because they just said, "Will you re-audition for it?" And I said, "Yes, I will. Where would you like me and what time?" I'm not as busy as Frank, so I'm like, "I will do anything you want for Scale Plus 10." But the first time to get RC, I was on a flight. I was like, my timer's going off. It sounds just like mine. I was like, I'm done, sorry. No, I was on a Southwest flight, and there was this really pretty girl, this really pretty blonde woman, and she was being flirted with by this really nice guy, and I listen in on everyone's conversation. If I'm with my friends sometimes I'm like, shh, I'm listening. Her brother was in prison, and then her friend was in. I'm like, you're interrupting their story. I'm sorry. Anyway, so we were getting ready to board the plane, and I'm seeing this romance play out. Like he's asked her out. They both found out they lived in LA, but we were in another city at the time. We were flying back to LA. And I was like, oh my God, they live near each other. Oh, I'm so excited. You know, and they were just, it was so cute. So then she sat in the nice part of the plane, and he went further back where I was sitting. And I heard him talking to his friend about like this girl and how he lied about having a boat and he's gonna take her, and he's like, he was just a pig. He was so awful. And I was like, oh my God, I thought he was so nice. I was like heartbroken. I was like, this is just, so I thought, I gotta tell that girl what happened. And I thought, okay, if I get an opportunity to tell that girl, I'm just gonna tell her, but I don't know when that's gonna happen. So we landed in Burbank, and we're in the thing, and I came out of the stall, and there she was washing her hands, and we were the only ones in the whole airport. So I was like, in the whole bathroom. So I was like, I said, I'm so sorry, I have to tell you something. And she was like, what? And I said, that guy that you met, you know, he's a jerk. I said, I know he seemed really nice, but he sat right by me, and I heard him tell his friend that he was just full of crap, and he's just awful, you can't go out with him. And she's like, thank you so much. I said, I wish there was something I could do for you. And I said, no. I said, I just feel better now that I told you that. So I went around telling that story to all my friends forever, and my boyfriend at the time was like, why do you talk to everybody? You just talk to everybody. And I was like, I know, but I had to tell her. Anyway, so like a couple of years go by, and they're casting for the Revenge of the Fallen, and I get down to like me and a couple other women for RC. And so I went down to Michael Bay's office with the dogs and everything. I mean, it was like, I was thinking like, wow, this is like really amazing, big time, you know? And this pretty blonde woman comes out to call us into the audition, and she's like, do I know you're from somewhere? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I said, but you look kind of familiar too. I said, I don't do on camera, so I don't think you'd recognize me from that. And she's like, and then all of a sudden she was like, oh my gosh, Burbank bathroom at the airport. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She's like, oh, believe me, he was sorry he did that to me. I got him back. She's like, but let me just tell you, remember how I said, I wish I could do something for you? And I said, yeah. And she was like, you'll probably get this part.
Wonderful.
I'll have to remember that.
Talk constantly. That's the only way to talk to everyone.
Okay, I have a question for Mr. Welker. I want to know what Megatron thinks of Amazon Prime Day.
Well, I can get some of these shows, and I can get some of these shows, all at Prime. Prime? Is that what you meant? Prime Day?
Well, we'll have to work on
Mega Cell Day.
And believe it or not, we were just together at MegaCon.
MegaCon.
I like the sound of that. Prime Day. Can you believe that?
I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan now. Is Scoob currently in production? And is there any insight you could give us?
I thought we were going to meet a bunch of celebrities. It's called Guess Who Scooby-Doo, and there's going to be all these celebrity guests. And I went and got a trainer and everything and got into shape, and then I never met any. They don't record with us, but I'm in better shape. I'm waiting for the celebrities to come.
Yes, and we actually, I asked Kathy, and she said we are up to 46 shows or so, or I think we're doing 52 of the Scooby-Doo Guess Who, which is all guest stars, celebrities, and Dynamite was a celebrity, and Blue Falcon on the last show that we did. Have you done that one yet? Yeah. So fun. Dynamite, you see, I get to do him too. But I think they're already airing some of those shows, I think, on Nickelodeon.
I think the Weird Al one aired because I was being a big mouth and telling everybody about it, and then they had to tell me to shut up and not tell everybody about it, and then now it aired. So I was like, okay, now I can talk about Weird Al.
We say telephone, telegraph, tell gray.
It's so true. I'm always getting a stern email from some company. I have no filter. I'm like a Camel cigarette.
But we... Oh, great.
Just came up with that right now.
That was excellent, excellent. But there's going to be a lot more Scooby-Doo product. Thank you for asking, and also a feature coming out in May. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Just want to say, Ms. Griffin, that my favorite Autobots. So thank you for your work, Mr. Welker. What can I say? All hail Megatron. So, I do actually have a question for the both of you. Being voice actors, you both have done a lot of work over the years. What's, I guess, the most iconic, influential role? What's the role that you've done that means the most to you, and why?
Gosh. Well, if you go to Disney World or Disneyland, there was some slave trading, women selling on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Do you remember that? Okay, well, they were selling the women. We all had to explain to our culturally evolved children, like, I know, it's just, human trafficking. I don't know, it's just like, my son, who's like Mr. Social Justice, was like, what is this? This is wrong. And then he was like really upset. And I was like, they're never going to change it, honey. It's just Disneyland. People get very cranky about changing the things. They're not going to change it. He goes, if they can add Johnny Depp to the ride, they can take off the human trafficking. He was really upset. And so then an audition came for the redhead on that ride. They were changing her from being, being sold into slavery to being, a really cool pirate. So I got to audition for it, and then I got the part. And so now every time we go on the ride, if you hear her, she's like, they want the rum, don't they, boys? So anyway, and I'm always trying to film it, but I'm always like a little bit behind when she starts talking, and then also she's always talking for the boat behind me or in front of me. I never can get a good video of it, but it's exciting. And I was like, my grandchildren are gonna go on that ride and see that. So yeah, so I'm the redhead. And the character's like taken off. They make stuffed animals of her, or not stuffed animals, stuffed ladies of her. And there's like Halloween costumes, and of course I'm the dork at Disneyland, because I'm such a Disney dork. I have like the pass, and I wear the ears, and I have like every pair of ears. I'm like, if they're the 20th anniversary ears or whatever, I buy them. Anyway, but when I go and I see somebody dressed up like her, I can't help but go like, I'm gonna have to tell the person. I was like, hi, and I start doing the voice, and at first they're like, whoa, what's this person doing? But I'm like, they want the rum, don't they, boys? I'm like, I'm the girl. You're dressed up as me. That's me. And it takes a while for them to not think I'm insane.
The rum girl?
The rum, she's the pirate red. She's the redhead. Yeah. Yeah, they used to go, we want the redhead, which was not a good thing for our daughters to hear. So.
I totally understand that. I think that deserves some applause.
Oh, stop.
Working with Gray is, and I'm not, well, I'm blowing smoke, but it's real smoke.
Okay. From a
She's
camel
such a treat.
cigarette.
Some of you know me as working with Peter Cullen and doing these. I haven't done many, and traveling with Peter is such a treat. But working with Gray is a totally different thing, and we work together in the studio, and I just sit there and listen to her when she's talking, because most of the time she's on her phone. And they'll be going along, it gets real quiet in the recording session. Gray? Huh? Oh!
I'm sitting and buy that rum. Well, for a while, Matt started hitting me right before it was my part, and now when he forgets to hit me, I get legitimately annoyed by him because I'm like, you're supposed to hit me when it's my part, and he's like, you're supposed to pay attention. And I was like, oh, you're right, that's fair. That's fair.
This is the Scooby-Doo session.
Yes,
and Matt Lillard
Matthew
sit
Lillard
next to her,
sits
and he-
between us. Yeah, and he's always like hitting me. Sometimes he hits me when
That
it's not my
means
part.
put down your phone and talk.
I know, yes. But the thing is, my son's an actor too, and I have 3 children, and one of them's an actor, so I'm usually like returning messages about something he's doing. I'm on the Loud House. I don't know if anybody watches the Loud House, but I
play Lola on the Loud House, and I play Lana on the Loud House,
and I play the little baby. And I'll play Cheryl, who works in the office on the Loud House, and I play Scoots, the little old lady on the scooter, and my son is Lincoln on the Loud House. So I'm always answering some message about his career, and I'm like a momager and an actor, so it's hard.
You see what I mean? It's just unbelievable. It's like watching a comedy show the entire session. It's wonderful.
I played Zanies in Nashville on Wednesday night,
She's
and it was so
doing
fun.
stand-up comedy, and she sings fantastic.
This is all about me. Who cares about this legend?
I can write letters still without a computer. That's about it. I'm sorry, you have another question?
This is for Frank. I just want to say you're just a really huge part of my childhood, and I'm so thrilled to be here today.
Thank you.
My question is regarding Soundwave. He was really my favorite Transformer. How did you come up with the voice, the idea behind that character in terms of developing him?
Well, I've told this story before, but actually, I loved Barry White, and he had that deep voice back in those days. I love you, baby. And I was doing impressions. I thought, I kind of like that Barry White voice. I love you, baby. Start getting deeper. And then I found there was something there, so that kind of became that Cave of Wonder voice, and I used it in Transformers for Soundwave. But they had, I think it's called a vocoder or something. It's old technology, but they would harmonize, or maybe it was a harmonizer. And then they would take that deep voice, and I would talk in a monotone. I'm throwing my voice now. Did you hear that?
The master at work.
Yes, I'm
You get to that level, you're just speaking.
But you talk in a monotone, so I would say, Megatron, there are intruders, my liege. And then they would take it with this harmonizer and move it. And that's how it went.
He's always doing the can of Coke and all that. He's always making noises in the booth like that. Just I feel like when you have your favorite uncle who's like doing funny things and making you laugh, and I feel like I'm 5 years old because he does this can of Coke and then he does like where his head's leaking. Don't you just feel like you're like,
There's, I don't know, you just sit around and sessions sometimes take a long time. And,
when I'm on my phone.
And I don't know where that came from, but I was just thinking, maybe your head would actually start leaking. So I was trying to come up with what would that sound be, and I think it was. We amuse ourselves with that.
I love it. He was asking me, I have to tell the Conway West.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, we help each other out. And, like, he was asking me about, and I don't know anything about pop culture. I'm like the worst person to ask about pop culture, but I know like some major stuff. And he was like, I'm not just like an old man or anything, but like, is that Conway West any good? I said, you mean Kanye Twitty?
There's a generation thing happening with Gray and I, but she keeps me informed on what all the young folks are doing, and I tell her what the Kingston Trio and some of the old groups were like.
I think Kanye Twitty would be a good name for like a country rap group,
Oh boy. But somebody, we just to finish up on our Scooby sessions. It used to be in the old days, even on most of the sessions, you would work with the full cast. But now, unfortunately, or fortunately, on Scooby, when we get together as a group, it'd be Matt and Kate and Gray and myself, and that's a full cast because it takes a whole session to do the four of us. So we don't really work with our guest stars anymore. And now everybody's so busy, Gray will be gone.
Doesn't matter how thin I am, they're just never coming, those guest stars.
And then Gray is usually 2 sessions late. But that's a whole nother story.
It's giving me a very bad reputation, right? It's like she's on her phone, she's late. But I play all the villains on the show, because they have no budget left. He plays the male villains. He plays the male creatures and I play the female creatures.
Well, you know how we do sometimes when we'll audition for, just to throw them, they'll say, okay, Gray, we'd like you to do the old women.
Yeah.
And you do the farmer.
Yeah,
So
well,
we'll
admit first.
Oh my! I'm so frightened. I think there's a ghost out there, Scooby.
Get on out of here! You kids, get off of my property!
And the director will go, who did that?
For a while, every time we did I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice because I was having fun out there with everybody all day and like doing all the voices. They're like, you're the only voice person who does the voices, and I was thinking, I might need to rethink that because I am losing my voice, but it's fun. But yeah, no, for a while during the ADR, we would just switch all the female, and he would do the women and I would do the men, and it took them a long time to realize that we were doing that. Like, Frank, are you doing the women, and Gray, are you doing the men? And we were like, yes, we're just having fun. We're just switching it up for ourselves here.
All right, I'm sorry. We're getting carried away. Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
When you first got the part of Freddy for Scooby-Doo, can you talk about that? And also, at the time of starting out, did you have any idea that Scooby would become the phenomenon that it has?
Well, the second question I can answer immediately, absolutely not. Scooby was my first show, so I was just thrilled to go in. And actually, I was doing stand-up in a club in LA, and this fella came in, makes noise. A fella came in, this fella came in from Irwin Wasey advertising agency with his fiance. And he was casting a Friskies dog food commercial literally the next day. I mean, he was doing it, and he saw me doing dog sounds, and he said, oh God, you'd be perfect for my dog, and all this. His fiance worked for ABC, and she was casting Scooby-Doo. So I mean, this was just pure luck at a stand-up comedy thing. So I did the commercial, and then I told my agent at the time about Scooby, and that this lady had told me to, during my voice again, and to go and get this audition in Hanna-Barbera. So my agent at the time said, oh, no. I've sent all of my best people, and you wouldn't be, no, forget about it. So I did. And fortunately, they had my home phone, and so she called me home. She said, where were you? Well, my agent said not to go. Your agent said not to. come back. So I went back, and then I auditioned with Casey Kasem and the gals and Dawn, and ended up getting Freddie, but I thought I was perfect for Shaggy. And Casey Kasem thought he was perfect for Freddie, and he ended up getting Shaggy. So it's just weird how that worked out, and it worked out pretty well, and I'm still doing Freddie. What,
did you fire your
50
agent?
years ago?
Did you get rid of your agent?
I did.
Oh, good. Sure.
Yeah.
And I have to say about Casey Kasem, what a wonderful person he was to work with. I mean, just amazing. I have a bad mouth sometimes, and I said the P word a lot. Sorry. But he was like, you were just funny. He's like, you're always doing dresses, but every other word is kitty cat. Anyway, but another funny thing about him, does everybody remember that viral recording of him like losing it? Casey Kasem like yelling, you know, like, where are the pictures I was supposed to see? Well, anyway, there's this audio recording of him getting really mad at the guy that was recording him, and he like starts yelling at him, and it was just really funny because, you know, he's always that guy, you know, like that sweet guy, you know. And so I was the new Daphne. I had only been doing it the one season, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to be here next season. I got to ask him about that thing. So it was the cast party, and we're all in a circle just like having cocktails or whatever, and I was like, so Casey, that recording, what was that all about? I mean, and everybody's butthole was just like, oh God, great, what are you doing? But then again, there's that filter gone. But I thought I might not get a chance to ask him again. And, he was so sweet about it. He was like, oh my gosh, that guy, I was gonna sue him. He's like, but you know, I just thought like, it's not gonna be worth it, you know, and it's already out there, and you know, but.
And it's like the most famous.
And it was just so fun. I still play it for people. Anyway. Little dog dying. Somebody's dog named Snuffy or whatever. It's just funny. Anyway,
It was
Snuggles.
bad.
It's funny. Okay.
When you were a kid, did you want to be a voice actor?
You know, actually, I didn't even know what that was. I tell you, I got into the business for all the wrong reasons.
For the kitty cat.
I want. But I wanted to be a star, famous, and I really didn't think about acting. I didn't think about voices or anything. I just wanted to go, you know, because I know I was a goofy kid. I was always in trouble and silly and funny and everything. So I thought, well, it's either jail or Hollywood. But I really needed to learn what acting was about and try to, you know, look at that from a different point of view. But I went to stand-up group because that's where my love was being funny and silly and doing that. Bless you. Good to see you again. How are you? Good. And so the stand-up was the least resistance, and I didn't know what voiceovers were. I think I did maybe when I started getting into and got an actor and an acting agent. I started doing a few films, acting films, and Dr. Dolittle. Remember Rex Harrison when he did that picture, Dr. Dolittle?
For the young people, it was Eddie Murphy, but go ahead.
That's right, younger generation. Rex Harrison was much later, or older than that, earlier. And he did a bunch of animal sounds, so I did animal sounds in that movie, and I think that was literally my first voiceover. But I didn't know about cartoons or any of that, and so it wasn't until that fellow from Irwin Wasey came in and got involved in Scooby-Doo that I even knew that there was voices. But I started doing that and working at Hanna-Barbera, and pretty soon I was working so much that I didn't have time to go out of town, and I was traveling with the Righteous Brothers.
He used to be in movies with Elvis, like, you know, the Elvis, like, surf movies and stuff. He used to make Elvis laugh. The director would go, do those dog and cat sounds. He likes it. And he would, if he was cranky and not wanting to work, he would make Elvis laugh, and then, you know, it would make Elvis, like, happier.
Very good at PR, too. You know? I love you so much. But anyhow, could you do me a favor? Could you show that shirt that you have on to this audience?
Yeah. She made a Scooby
Oh.
shirt.
I want to thank you so much for that.
That is awesome.
Make it all worthwhile. Thank you so much.
My grandma raised me, and she worked at a factory, so we didn't have a lot of money for toys and stuff, but she had this boom box, and I would record myself on one side and do voices and just like make radio plays and all kinds of stuff with the two audio things. And my grandma used to sing with Tito Puente when she was much younger, so she had a lot of tapes and stuff and acetates of her singing, and I don't know, I was just really into the recording thing, and I would, make my own I would entertain myself for hours with that boombox. So I think that's what kind of got me started, because I would do the little girl voice, and then I would do the mother voice. Okay, now, honey, we were just talking back and forth. My grandma still got she had all those tapes that I'd made from when I was little. So, I think it was just necessity made me. And I didn't really know it was a job either. I had no idea that we're doing weird voices, it could actually make money. When I graduated from college, I was like, this is my thing. I've been doing this already. Anyway.
Gray is one of those people, I'm sorry, just to give you a little bit back, but Gray is one of those few actors who does, especially on the female side, because there's a lot of really good voices, but not too many of the gals do like multiple voices. Tara, obviously, but
yeah.
Gray can do anything, literally. And so when they hire her, they know they've got like 3 actresses. So a lot of times we don't have guest stars because they're her.
Well, I was going to say, with these celebrities, I feel like we're blowing, I have no idea about the budget, but I feel like we must spend a lot of money on the celebrities, because you and I end up being every single villain. They never have an actual money for the villain to come. That's fine.
That's great. Right back here, we're on.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Miss Gray. Hi, Mr.
Freddie.
Welker.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
Jeepers, you look so handsome today.
And you notice he has
Thank
a
you very
mask
much.
on?
He does.
My question is for you both. Has there ever been a moment in your careers where, as your characters on your shows or in real life, that has pleasantly surprised you or inspired you or made you say, wow, I'm so glad I am a voice actor and I'm so grateful?
Wow. Well, for me, I think you'll see a lot of actors saying, boy, they like to try a different role because they're always cast, like on camera, you're cast because of your physiognomy. But when you're doing voices, it's so great, or it's so, I don't know, lifting.
You're more free,
like
you can
you're
do anything.
Free, yeah. Because in the morning, you can be a little monkey. And then, like Grace,
He's
like
Curious George. I'm Betsy on that show, and even when I'm in the booth with it, I'm like, he's the cutest little monkey in the world.
And then, at lunchtime, we can be a mom and a dad and go, honey, do you know where the kids are?
I don't. So let's go back in the bedroom.
That's not where I'm going with this, Greg. You see what I have to work with? And then in the night, you could be a villain as Megatron.
Old Man Jenkins.
I don't want to rip
Who killed my sister? Was it you? Yeah.
But I think what we're trying to say is it's liberating. And as actors, to be able to play a multiple set of roles in a day is just like flying. So thank you for that question. I think that.
And a lot of my female friends who started out on camera with me, I was really jealous because they were booking all these things back when we were 20, and I was never goofy. I had a beautiful friend who did really well back then, and I was never cute enough to be like the star pretty girl, but I wasn't weird enough to be the sidekick person. I was just like in this weird thing. So then I started doing voiceovers and stuff, and now I'm so glad that I didn't get more, because now, all my friends, sad, but all the females, they just, there aren't enough parts for them. As they get older, they're still wanting to cast the 21-year-old to play the 55-year-old guy's wife, And so, but I was able to have kids, and I have 3 children, and raise them, and I'm still playing a teenager, in Daphne. So it's amazing.
That's great.
It's much freeing.
This is for Frank.
Uh-huh.
I am familiar with the Righteous Brothers and Rex Harrison, and I'm one of those older children.
Okay.
But a couple of my favorite characters that you did were Bronx from the Gargoyles, and Joanna or Marhute from the Rescuers, Down Under.
Yeah.
And so, since I am familiar with older characters as well as your newer ones, do you have a favorite or two? Or how about the Page Master horror?
Yes.
Do you have older favorites?
Well, somebody had today a picture of the Shmoo, Do you remember the Shmoo and Outcast?
I remember it. Yeah.
And that was really fun because it was no real words, but dialogue is, which was kind of like, you know, some of the other characters I did later on, but Shmoo was one of those original ones. And Page Master was great. I can't even, gosh, that was a good one too, yeah. For me, I mean, I really
He was
enjoyed
Spike
it.
in Gremlins too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's what Mr. Dodson was talking about this morning, was Gremlins. He was talking about that, and he was saying,
I didn't know that, and I was watching it with my kids, and I got starstruck just to the credits. I was like, that's Frank! Oh my god!
Firstly, I'd like to thank you both for my childhood. Huge Scooby-Doo fan.
Thank you.
And I know it's probably very hush-hush, but can we know anything about Return to Zombie Island? Are we at least going back to Moonscar Island?
I don't know. Do we know anything about what?
Return to Zombie Island.
Oh, that's definitely. I think.
What?
Here comes the Camel cigarette.
Yeah, we
Pretty
will
sure
show
that's happening. I'm pretty sure that's happening. Sorry, Warner Brothers, please don't fire me. The new Daphne came out in 2020. Tara Strong, can we get you to come in real quick?
What was it like working on the Supernatural episode y'all were involved with?
That was cool.
That was so fun, yeah.
You tell me.
Well, Misha is the dad at my school. He's one of the dads at my school, his parent at my school. So I didn't even know he was an actor. So it was fun to see, to find out about that show and go, oh, that's the show he's on. Because I didn't watch it before we did it. And then I was like, it's a really cool show. Yeah, I don't know, it just, I had tons of, I've gotten a lot more fans to my table because of that. It kind of brought fans of Supernatural to Scooby-Doo. People have come up to my table and gone, I was a Supernatural fan, and I only watched that because of Supernatural, and now I love Scooby-Doo, so.
Did you work with anybody, or did you work by yourself?
No, I worked by myself too, yeah.
And sometimes on those...
Darn it, I want to meet a celebrity so bad. I gotta go to my kid's school to meet a celebrity.
But yeah, when you work by yourself, you don't get a chance to, you know, experience their side. But it was interesting because the script was different, you know, felt different, you know, going in and out, and Scooby doing some kind of strange things, you know, it was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fun.
right back here.
I have to say that I'm a really, really big Scooby-Doo fan. Like, there's like so little Scooby-Doo products out there, just mostly movies. Like, it's hard for me to find it. So anything that I see, I'm like, I have to have it, and that's how much Scooby-Doo means to me.
Oh.
You mean like in characters and things, and dolls and product?
Mugs and
Yeah, stuff like
purses.
that. But I guess my question would be is, for both of you, what is your favorite Scooby-Doo movie and scene?
I mean, I know this is not going to be a popular answer, but okay, hear me out. Be Cool Scooby-Doo, the scripts were really funny, and I loved being that Daphne because she was so weird and funny. I know that people didn't like the look of it because they thought it looked like Rick and Morty, but I thought that the actual scripts were really funny, and I feel like if you close your eyes and listen to those episodes, you will have a very good time. But I love Daphne with her beard and Daphne with her puppet, and she was just so weird. It was so fun to go from just being like the pretty, you know, girl to like kind of being the interesting character.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Daphne or Gray on that one because the director was out of the comedy group, remember? And so their writing was really out there, and they pushed.
It took us a while to get into that. We were like, what is this?
Yes, and can we do that?
Yes,
and they were pushing Freddie and Gray and I mean, they all, everybody was in
everybody didn't know what they were doing.
But as actors, it was challenging and fun, especially for me because, you know, Freddie is pretty much like me, just sort of, milk and coffee. But,
vanilla, people would call it.
But the pushing of that character into different areas and their parents and all the stuff, it was really fun to do. However, I did not like the models of that.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was saying, everybody said Rick and Morty or like Family Guy, it looked like. And it kind of, I think it turned people off to where they didn't even watch it. 'cause of
But
that.
I think probably just the look of the show, I really like the early shows, the traditional look of the shows.
Yeah.
As far as remembering scenes or shows, gosh, we've done so many.
Mystery Incorporated was my favorite iteration of Scooby-Doo thus far. I just thought it was like really funny and
Yeah.
great, and just I loved
So different.
the hot dog water character, Linda Cardellini. That was before she was famous again. And I was like, oh yay, we got her for a minute before she became famous again. Yeah.
So you guys, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the.
Oh, we're gonna have to extend that.
But here's.
So anyway, when I was young, I remember in Boy Scouts.
Well, what I wanted
this
to
is
do,
a great story.
everybody. Oh, sorry.
What a jerk! Am I right?
No. So you will appreciate this because we do have like 3 minutes. All the hands that were raised to ask a question. This could be a really failed experiment, but you guys seem really fun. So,
Yeah.
so everybody that had your hand up to ask a question, go ahead and stand. You right? So stand up real quick. All of you that had a question that you didn't get to ask. Those of you that did not get to ask a question that you had. Okay, ready? So on the count of 3, I want you all to ask that question right now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's not. Okay, so he's got it going on. Ready? On the count of 3, ask that question. 1, 2, 3. We got it. Y'all can have a seat. Thank you so much.
The old Transformer movie. The 86 one. Oh, the 86 one. With Orson Welles. Oh, that was a really quick one. When Peter and I were reading our scripts, because we didn't really study them at home, surprise. And so
I once found out I died in something during the taping because I hadn't read the script beforehand, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not in this show anymore. Anyway, I should read it. Now I try to read it ahead.
Exactly. And so this was very shocking because Peter, he's reading along and goes, oh my God, I get whacked.
I didn't mean to take the thunder out of your story.
No, but that was it. And he was like, and we were both shocked because we never didn't read the script. And Peter says, I got car payments. But it was interesting. Again, we only worked with partial cast. We saw Orson Welles when he came in, and when he left, he came in with 2 dogs and his own chair. He was big at that time. And Wally Burr gave him, I think, 1 or 2 directions, and then he said,
You're not going to be directing me through this entire film, are you?
Oh my God.
Wally goes, no. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Come on, Scooby-Doo.